We are in Central City, Kentucky. It is Saturday, May the 17th, 2025. Yesterday was AJ's 18th. I said 18th. No, he better not be 18. AJ was 13 yesterday. 13. No, we still have 5 years before he's 18. I don't want him to be 18 just yet. He's 13 years old yesterday. That was definitely a mistake for saying that. Anyway, we are traveling, and Stephen loves to clean his Cadillac and clean his car, so we are at a spray and wash in Central City, Kentucky, and we are several hours away from seeing AJ. Several hours. But Stephen certainly likes to keep a clean car. And we're traveling in the 2008 CTS. That is his favorite car that we've had. And we've had it, let's see, we have had this car. It is a Cadillac CTS 2008. We've had it since 2017. So it was 9 years old. It was 9 when we purchased it. And we took a family vacation in 2018 to California when AJ was 6 years old. And he just turned 13. So that was 7 years ago next month. Man, that's hard to believe. 7 years ago next month that we traveled as a family to California so that AJ could meet his grandparents, and he only had one opportunity to meet his grandparents, and now they're both deceased on Stephen's side of the family. His paternal grandparents, they are both deceased, and so we're very, very thankful that when AJ was 6 years old, we took him to California, and he sat here in this back seat. I can still reflect on that. He sat here in this back seat. And yeah, just good times reflecting on a family vacation to California when AJ was 6 and now he's 13. Where does the time go? So, yes, so it was when AJ was 5 in 2017 that we purchased this car, and it is Stephen's favorite car. And he takes care of it. He's way better than I am about taking care of and cleaning a vehicle. He's just way better than I am. He just and also about the interior too. He's very good about taking care of the interior of a vehicle. And he's a very clean man about his vehicle. He's very, very clean. And I'm not so good about that. I struggle in that area of keeping a vehicle clean inside and outside. But for Stephen, it's a lifestyle. He likes to travel in nice, clean vehicles. And so, he takes care of his semi-truck. He keeps that semi-truck nice and clean on the inside and outside. And he's all about keeping it clean, and I'm very proud of him. He just does a very good job. I fail miserably in that area, and I could do better. I could. What? This place is a ripoff?
Yeah.
Why is that?
We can go to one in Katie's for $2 for $1 and get 5 minutes over here. For $3 you get 3 minutes, and if you got any bugs or mud to get off. Anyway, it cost me $4.25, where normally it would cost me $1. So I'd say that's a ripoff.
I guess so. I was just bragging about
Although
you.
it's very rare to find a place for $1 anymore. Most of them are $2 and $3. But when they cut back the minutes like that, that's a ripoff. generally when you put $3 in there, you'll get 4 to 5 minutes. They give you $1 a minute.
Yeah, that's very expensive.
If I should go downtown and get some gas, probably cheaper. Maybe.
All right, so Central City, Kentucky. Well, that's pit stop number 1 on our way to see AJ. So we'll be with him tomorrow. We've got a room booked in Winchester, Kentucky tonight, and yeah, I don't blame Stephen. When we saw AJ on Easter,
So much for fuel being cheaper. There isn't any fuel over here.
there's no good cheap fuel over here. 4 weeks ago, if y'all can believe it, it's been 4 weeks since Easter weekend, which was April the 20th. So when we went to see AJ on Easter, we drove 5 hours to go see him. We left early, and then we got to spend 3 hours with him. And then we drove 5 hours home. And that made for a very long day. Now, of course, Stephen is used to that. I mean, he is an over-the-road truck driver, so he is used to... oh, that's out of business, isn't it? Look at that. That's sad. For rent. The old Subway building.
It's open. What are you talking about?
Oh, I guess the building next to it is for rent. Okay. Subway. AJ's favorite is Subway. His favorite is Subway. Anyway, Stephen is used to driving long hours, obviously. He's an over-the-road truck driver. But for a family visit, that's kind
34 years.
For 34 years. But that's kind of a lot to drive 5 hours to see your son and then spend 3 hours with him.
I don't mind driving it. It's just that this time I felt like being a little bit fresher when I get there, because I did get a little tired by the end of the visit. So
Right. Okay, so we just decided to make a 2-day event of it and to travel today on Saturday.
I can't get the air-to-air. I mean, I can go ahead and dismantle the radiator brackets and put the radiator together, but really, I just wait until I can find me an air-to-air. I'm going to wait for the Thomans to get me an air-to-air. See if they have one. If they don't have one, I don't know. $1,200 is a lot of money to come up off of right now. So
yeah, and you just spent $1,000 on the radiator.
Yeah, and I still got to pull the belt and check the all the belt tensioners and stuff too. So I'm sure I'll have to replace some of those. So that's the thing, when you get into one thing, it leads to another.
So that's nice that you're deciding to be a little bit more leisureful and just to travel on Saturday and see AJ on Sunday. So that works out. Because that was kind of stressful.
Stressful.
To travel.
All you're doing is sitting over there riding. How is that so stressful?
Well, I mean, it can get tiring just to even be in a vehicle for 5 hours and then spend 3 hours with your child and then travel 5 hours
you're just
home.
along for the ride. Where's the stress? I don't ever recall being stressed out being along for the ride.
Well, you were.
That's why they call it along for the ride.
Oh, but if I were driving, you would be stressed.
Yeah, I'd be stressed out going down the street.
You don't like it when I drive.
I don't like it when anybody drives.
I mean, like the few times that I have.
Times that I rode with Tim in the back, I about had a freaking stroke.
Really?
Heck yeah, I didn't like that.
You're
Being
talking
in the back of a semi truck with somebody else driving it. Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
So
I could not be a freaking teen driver. There's no way. I could never sleep with somebody else driving a freaking semi.
So Steven's talking about.
I got broke of that when I was a kid. I was a teenager, and I was hitchhiking from Texas back to California. I was working on the oil rigs back then. Anyway, so on my way back to California, I got picked up by two guys, and I had no idea until afterwards, but so that they were drunk. But so force of the vehicle being flipped around because it was rolling. I was being rolled all over the place from side to side, like being a pinball inside of a washing machine. I was just being bounced around all over the place. And I was like, wow. I knew what was happening right away. I knew the car was rolling. And I grabbed a hold of that big duffel bag and held it against my face and wrapped around that big duffel bag to protect myself. And so anyway, it flipped over and was sliding upside down, and big boulders were rolling through the windshield, coming through and hit me on the arms, my elbows, and it finally come to a sliding halt. And this is in Arizona desert, and so you can imagine it was pretty dusty, and I was trying to clear the dust out, and I could finally see the opening of the back window, and me and my duffel bag went out, and I stood up and I looked, and I could see everything, and I could see semi-trucks stopping on both sides of the road, and then the driver was there, and I went to help him to get out. When I did, I noticed a vodka bottle laying on the ground with the lid off, alcohol leaking out of it, and I instantly went from wanting to help to wanting to kick him in the head, and because he nearly killed me for being drunk. So anyway, pulled him out regardless, and went around the other side, and the guy his arm was stuck between the door. It had the metal top of the door stuck between the door and the roof, and the roof was sitting on his door. The roof was sitting on it. It was sitting on its roof, so all the weight was on it. Had his arm pinned between there. So about that time, a bunch of the truck drivers had run up and was trying to help, and was asking me if I was okay. And I told them that the guy's arm was stuck, and they went to working to get him out. And one truck driver saw that everything was. They got him out, and then once they got him out, I started cussing him and kicking him, and he wasn't hurt enough as far as I was concerned. So anyway, the truck drivers dragged me off of him, and
You mean you had to be pulled off of him?
off the driver, yeah, not the guy with the arm, the driver.
Oh, wow.
And so they pulled me off of him and asked me where I was going. I told him I was going to California. He said, "You can ride with me." And so we jumped in his truck, and got to a truck stop, and I was expecting to see that I was cut up, bruised up, banged up, and everything. So I went in the truck stop and looked in the mirror. Other than the dust, I didn't have a scratch on me. But ever since that day, I have never been able to sleep in another vehicle.
Wow. It is amazing that you escaped that without any major bodily injury. That's really amazing. That's an example right there of how the Lord was watching over you even before you gave your life to Him. He was watching over you even before you became a born-again believer in Jesus Christ.
Well, He's here, He's there, He's everywhere. He's in the past, He's in the future. He knows all. He knew I was going to be His.
I wonder whatever happened to those people that you got the ride from. I wonder whatever happened to them. But so you actually physically attacked him even after the accident.
Oh yeah, I went off on him. I did. I went off on the guy. So. But all the truck drivers immediately snagged me up because they knew I was mad. I said, "He's drunk. He's freaking drunk." I was going off.
And you were a teenager. Were you on the early side of your teens or the later side of your teens?
I was working on the oil rigs, so I was obviously in my later teens.
17, maybe.
18, 17, 19.
was the benchmark of how you do not want to be.
It's not a want to about it. I cannot sleep in a moving vehicle, and a want has nothing to do with it.
And you also don't like to be a passenger when anybody else is driving. Stephen was actually talking about Rooster, being in Rooster on April the 1st. On April the 1st, when you were riding in the back of Tim Gentry's Rooster, and how anybody else would be super excited about that, and maybe even envious to be inside Rooster, but you didn't like it as a passenger. You would much rather have been driving it.
Yeah, I didn't care for being a passenger.
That foreign man from Australia, that Australian man was driving.
What's his name? Blue?
No.
It started with an N.
I can't remember, but he's from Australia that Tim brought back from the truck show. He was driving, and or were you riding with Tim, or when was he driving?
Well, Tim took off and drove, and then got to the other end, and he drove back.
Well, what was more scary, Tim or the?
There was no more scary. I wasn't scared. I was just highly uneasy about it.
Did I hear you say in that video that that's the first time that you've actually been in the back of a semi truck when somebody else was driving?
Yeah, I can remember from when I was a teenager. I used to ride in the back of one, but my adult life, I don't recall being in the back of one.
Oh, you know what? We need to talk about something, Stephen. This would be a good opportunity to talk about it. Either that or make another video altogether about it. I'm not sure what we should do about it, but it needs to be talked about.
I see you're making videos on my phone. Huh?
It needs to be talked about. In your last video that you put up, you had in the beginning of the video, you had Blueford T. Justice. So I guess you have officially decided on the name because somebody was asking you.
I didn't really care for the Blueford that Tim came up with, but I was on a live one day and I said asked everybody what they thought of Blueford, and Tim had brought it up that he liked the name, and I really didn't care for it, but somebody came up with Blueford T. Justice, and that I liked. I liked the Blueford T. Justice, and it's just stuck with me ever since. Ever since that guy on the live typed in on the text Blueford T. Justice, it's stuck with me ever since. It just stuck just like glue.
Yeah, so none of the other names that we were even considering,
there were some names I was considering that I liked.
Old Glory, that was good.
Yeah, Old Glory would be all right. But Blueford T. Justice just seemed the best to me.
So is it official?
I don't think there's another truck out there named Blueford T. Justice.
So are we saying that it's official? You have officially christened your truck Blueford T. Justice?
Well, that's what I've been calling it, Blueford T. Justice.
Well,
even in my last video, I said Blueford T. Justice is not giving me any mercy.
Right. So you had that actually written in script, and so I wonder how many people picked up on that you had that actually written out.
It was kind of fast and then blue, kind of blended in, so you'd have to have really good vision or stop the video to see what it actually said. It said Blueford T. Justice and playing very nice.
Now, so it kind of came about because, and I sure wish you could remember. Of course, now it's way too. I mean, you can't possibly go back and figure it out now. I wish that you did know who it was that typed in the comment Blueford T. Justice. I wish, because that we could give credit for somebody for naming your truck, but that was a long time ago, and you didn't take note of who made that comment in the live. You didn't take note of that. So somebody out there in YouTube world actually suggested that, and we have no idea. We can't give credit to where credit is due.
It was somebody on live, one of Tim's lives, and I got on there. It might have, I don't know. I know Gus was on there. Maybe he knows. Remember Gus?
Yes.
His name's also AJ, because his name is short. Gus is
Right.
short for August.
Right. That's correct. We have somebody
So,
who.
but he was, every time he sees me on a live, he always says, "Hey, what's up, Big Belly?"
Right.
He may have been the one. I don't know who it was. I know that he was on there. So.
Well, to whoever it was that in the live suggested Blueford T Justice, I'm sorry, we are
They
not.
spelt it different than the way I spell it, though. They spelled it Justas, and I spell it Justus.
Okay, well, again, can't actually give credit to somebody that we don't know, but somebody came up with Blueford T Justice, and we appreciate that. So,
I guess I pulled off the wrong place again. Huh?
yeah, I think we're in Beaver Dam. I think you pulled off
I
the
see
Beaver
that's where I got filled at last time.
at Beaver Dam. So, Stephen, again, that all came about because somebody was saying Blueford, right? They were saying blue.
No, they made a play on Buford.
Right, but
They made a play on Blueford.
right.
On Buford with the Blueford.
I understand. So that's what I was trying to say.
Okay, all right. Well,
that-
I'm getting fuel now, so.
This is the same Casey's that we were at.
I just got through saying that.
I know that, but this is the same Casey's that we're no longer in Central
You're in
City.
my way if you'll just move and stop daydreaming.
So y'all have traveled with us from Central City to Kentucky to Beaver Dam, Kentucky. We are now in Beaver Dam. Check that name out, Beaver Dam. That's kind of a fun name for a little community, Beaver Dam. Oh, that's a nice little camper, isn't it?
It's not a camper, it's an RV.
Okay, so, all right, so I just want to hear you officially say it, that the name of the truck is...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day wherever you are. Have lots of fun. Enjoy the beautiful weather. And enjoy the new name, Blueford T Justice. God bless. Don't forget to ring that bell. Ding, 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 ding. God bless. And later.